O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's being, thou from whose unseen presence the leaves dead are driven, like ghosts from an enchanter fleeing. Yellow and black and pale and hectic red, pestilence-stricken multitudes, O thou who chariotest to their dark wintry bed the winged seeds where they lie cold and low, each like a corpse within its grave, until thine azure sister of the spring shall blow her clarion o'er the dreaming earth, and fill driving sweet buds like flocks to feed in air, with living hues and odors plain and hill. Wild spirit, which art moving everywhere, destroyer and preserver, hear, O hear.
In the first line, the speaker says that the west wind is to autumn as breath is to a living being. Percy uses another comparison when he says that the wind moves the dead leaves like an enchanter or magician wards away ghosts. The leaves are very colorful, but kind of in a weird way. They look almost creepy and diseased, not beautiful. Shelley uses yet another comparison when he says that the charioteer who drives the dead bodies to their graves compares to the wind carrying seeds to the cold ground or their graves until spring comes again. The seeds wait there until spring. Spring blows their clarion or trumpet to wake up the seeds from winter, and it causes them to bloom and fill the plains and hills with their scent and color. This compares to a shepherd that drives his sheep. The speaker refers to the wind as the wild wind because it's everywhere at once. The west wind is the destroyer and preserver because it destroys life during the winter, but it brings it back during the spring. Hear, oh hear means he just wants to be listened by the wind.
Thou on whose stream, mid the steep sky's commotion, loose clouds like earth's decaying leaves are shed, shook from the tangled boughs of heaven and ocean. Angels of rain and lightning, there are spread on the blue surface of thine airy surge, like the bright hair uplifted from the head of some fierce Maenad, even from the dim verge of the horizon to the zenith's height, the locks of the approaching storm. Thou dirge of the dying year, to which this closing night will be the dome of a vast sepulchre, vaulted with all thy congregated might, of vapors from whose solid atmosphere black rain and fire and hail will burst, O hear. In the first two lines, Shelley compares the clouds spread throughout the wind as being like the dead leaves floating in a stream. The leaves that fall from the branches of trees are like clouds falling from the branches of heaven and the ocean. These clouds are the angels of lightning and rain. The locks of the approaching storm are the thunderclouds, and they are spread throughout the west wind or blue surface, just like Maenad's hair waves around in the air. Thunderclouds are to the west wind as a Maenad's hair is to the air. Shelley then describes the west wind as being the funeral song to mark the death of the old year. The night is going to be like a dark, scary tune made up of thunderclouds, rain, and lightning. O hear means that the speaker wants the wind to hear him yet again. Thou who didst waken from his summer dreams the blue Mediterranean, where he lay lulled by the coil of his crystalline streams, beside a pumice isle in Baies Bay, and saw in sleep old palaces and towers quivering within the waves' intenser day, all overgrown with azure moss and flowers so sweet the sense faints picturing them. Thou for whose path the Atlantic's level powers cleave themselves into chasms, while far below the sea blooms and the oozy woods which wear the sapless foliage of the ocean know thy voice, and suddenly grow gray with fear, and tremble and despoil themselves, O hear.
During the summer, the Mediterranean Sea has remained calm, as though on vacation beside a pumice isle in Baies Bay, also known as a holiday spot for Romans. The west wind has woken up the Mediterranean Sea, making it choppy. While in its summer sleepiness, the Mediterranean Sea had dreams about the old buildings along Baies Bay, which are now overgrown with plants and weeds, making it picturesque. The Atlantic Sea breaks itself into chasms for the west wind. The wind disturbs the water, making waves. The sea plants hear the west wind and grow fearful, and they tremble and harm themselves. O hear means that the speaker, yet again, wants the west wind to hear him.
If I were a dead leaf thou mightest bear, if I were a swift cloud to flee with thee, a wave to pant beneath thy power, and share the impulse of thy strength, only less free than thou, O uncontrollable. If even I were as in my boyhood, and could be the comrade of thy wanderings over heaven, as then, when to outstrip thy skiey speed scarce seemed a vision, I would ne'er have striven as thus with thee in prayer in my sore need. O lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud. I fall upon the thorns of life, I bleed. A heavy weight of hours has chained and bowed one to like thee, tameless and swift and proud.
The speaker wishes he could be a dead leaf or a cloud so the west wind could carry him and he could feel its power. He would be as uncontrollable as the wind itself. When the speaker was a boy, he and the wind used to be comrades. He felt that he was even more powerful than the wind at times. If he were a leaf, wave, or cloud, he never would be asking the west wind for its help. He wants to be treated just like them. He says that time has weighed him down and has almost broken his spirit. His spirit started out tameless and swift and proud, just like the west wind itself.
Make me thy lyre, even as the forest is. What if my leaves are falling like its own? The tumult of thy mighty harmonies will take from both a deep autumnal tone, sweet though in sadness. Be thou, spirit fierce, my spirit, be thou me, impetuous one. Drive my dead thoughts over the universe like withered leaves to quicken a new birth, and, by the incantation of this verse, scatter, as from an unextinguished hearth, ashes and sparks, my words among mankind. Be through my lips to unawakened earth the trumpet of a prophecy. O wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? The speaker wants to be the wind's lyre. If you put a lyre out into the wind will play it all by itself. He wants to be played by the wind just like the wind plays the branches of trees in the forests. These trees are decaying and losing their leaves, just like the speaker metaphorically is losing his leaves, but it doesn't matter because the wind will play them and make autumn-ish music. The speaker now wants the wind to become him. He wants the wind's fierce spirit to replace his own spirit. He wants the wind to scatter his thoughts all over like the wind does with leaves. They'll become compost, which can bring new growth into spring. Even if his thoughts are garbage, garbage can fertilize something better. The speaker wants his words to be scattered like sparks and ashes blown out into the world. He is the unextinguished hearth from where the sparks fly. His words aren't extinguished, but they're waning. The next line goes back to the metaphor about the wind playing the speaker as an instrument. He is the mouth of a trumpet through which the wind will blow his prophecy. The last line, if winter comes, can spring be far behind, means that whenever something dies or decays, does that mean rebirth is just around the corner? An old, mad, blind, despised, and dying king, princes, the dregs of their dull race, who flow through public scorn, mud from a muddy spring, rulers who neither see nor feel nor know, but leech-like to their fainting country cling till they drop, blind in blood without a blow. A people starved and stabbed in the untilled field, an army whom liberticide and prey makes as a two-edged sword to all who wield. Golden and sanguine laws which tempt and slay, religion Christless, godless, a book sealed. A senate, time's worst statute, unrepealed. Our graves from which a glorious phantom may burst to illuminate our tempestuous day.
The king is very old and has lots of problems, including the people who hate him.
The princes will rule next, but they won't improve England.
They aren't liked by the public either. They're just like their father, Muddy Famline.
They didn't have any real emotion.
They rely on the poor to provide for them in the upper class.
Until they are killed by the army without a reason.
Troops are used to force to keep the peace, and they kept people from their liberties. The laws were great to the government, but to the people they weren't. This caused a lot of bloodshed. Religion wasn't about God anymore. It was getting political. Parliament is really crappy. Roman Catholics have a lot of restrictions. A phantom will rise from the dead, so to speak, and to make future brighter. Revolution.